Hello, kind and dear people. To fly in the sky on an old wooden ship would be a beautiful sight, majestic. But is it fantasy, or has it ever been reality? Flying ships over Ireland, the mystery of the year 743. Flying ships over Ireland is not a modern story, nor a product of contemporary theories. It is a description that comes directly from medieval chronicles, recorded centuries before humanity had any concept of aviation. As early as the 8th century, witnesses described scenes in the sky that today would be categorized as UFO sightings, but back then were perceived as something far more inexplicable and even frightening. The case that attracts researchers' attention is connected to chronicles from Ireland, where ships with people on board are described as moving through the sky. These accounts do not come from a single source, but appear in several independent annals, which significantly reduces the likelihood that this is fiction or a local myth. The descriptions are surprisingly specific. In some versions, a ship appears above a church, and from it a rope or anchor is lowered, becoming caught on the structure of the building. One of the crew even descends to free the tangled rope, but according to witnesses, he appears to suffocate, as if the air in our world is denser for him. This detail is particularly intriguing, as it suggests a different environment or physical conditions that do not correspond to our reality. In those times, people had no framework to explain such a phenomenon. They did not speak of extraterrestrials or technology, but of celestial beings, other worlds, or divine intervention. Nevertheless, when the cultural context is removed and only the description remains, the picture looks strikingly familiar. An object moving through the air, having structure, a crew, and interaction with the environment. These are elements that today are directly associated with UFOs. Here comes the logical question. If this were an isolated case, we could accept it as a legend. But when similar descriptions appear across different periods and regions, a pattern begins to form. Flying objects that do not obey known laws have been present in human history much earlier than is officially acknowledged. Over time, this case has been interpreted in various ways. Some scholars explain it through atmospheric phenomena or optical illusions. Others suggest it is a retelling that changed over generations. But there is also a third perspective that cannot be easily dismissed, that the witnesses may indeed have observed something that does not belong to their time. What is interesting is that in later texts, the story evolves. The ships become more detailed in description, the actions of the crew expand, and the narrative itself begins to take on an almost documentary character. This does not resemble a fabrication that fades over time, but rather a story that is trying to be understood and explained. This case does not stand alone. It is part of a larger pattern in which people from different eras describe the same phenomenon in different ways. In the Middle Ages, these are ships. In later centuries, fiery spheres, and today, technological craft. The form changes, but the essence remains. If we accept that these descriptions have a real basis, then something even more interesting emerges. It means that humanity did not begin observing these objects in the modern era, but simply began calling them by different names. This completely changes the way the UFO phenomenon should be viewed. The flying ships over Ireland in the year 743 do not provide a final answer, but they pose a question that remains relevant today. If people more than 1,000 years ago were seeing the same things we observe now, then perhaps the issue is not whether these objects exist, but how long they have been here.